welcome to the show. You look incredible, like a dessert that owns a yacht.
That's exactly the vibe I was going for. You know, sweet but slightly out of your tax bracket.
Mission accomplished. How does one even shop for a suit when your head...
Gold on my neck, gold on my hand, purple with the stripes, that's the walk of a man. Sidewalk shining, city lights humming, every step I take, they know a boss is coming.
Police or zombie problems? Your tortoise won't stop breakdancing?
Try blue tape.
The miracle of our age. Yay! Hey, we love that umbrella guy. All right. Thank you.
I'm calling from Los Angeles, and I'm having a little problem under the name ThATuMBRELLAgUy. I sent him my phone number at least 20 times in the chat and told him to call me. He ignored me. I'm a man. I filed the report. If you guys could take a look at it and give me a call back, I would love to hear what you guys can do to help us. We really need to kind of stop this guy at least until Monday. I told him to call me. I'm a man.
You know what? I talk to your mayor.
Mask on. Lights low. Size 14. Cool. Yup. Down. They were selling me a Halo. Hands deep in the payroll. PR wolves in the raincoat, calling it a campaign. Same old 100K in the smokestack. Trust us will bring hope back. Every post was a blowback to the screenshots. Hit the group chat. Career crooks in a PR suit. One donor, pay the whole loot. 56 in a quick swoop. Left them hollow as a dry route. Timeline turning into siren. Every threat another siren. Can you feel the floor sliding? Yeah, we see where you're hiding.
Master.
Pulling down the curtains, receipts in my hand, now it's certain. You were out here grifting for the cloud and the cut. Now the whole feed watching while we're lining you up. Masked up, every line replay. Name in the tag, can't escape that display. You can scrub, you can spin, you can cry, that's enough. But the internet remembers and it's looking real rough. Yeah, that umbrella guy drop links. Suddenly your bravado shrinks. Every don't ass start to stink. When the totals never match the ink. Yeah, you were bragging in the group chat. Same time begging for a new stat. Talking justice in the hashtags. As you left about the cash grab, you said trust the plan. Now what? We just mapped every dime, every cut, every alt, every sock, every front. Funny how the mask slips in a stunt. Is it fraud? Is it cloud? Is it both? Is it law on your neck, on your throat? You could claim it's a game, it's a joke, but a lot of people broke when you spoke. Masked up, pulling down the curtains, receipts in my hand, I was certain. You were out here grifting for the cloud and the cut. Now the whole feed watching while we're lining you up. Masked up, every line replay. Name in the tag, can't escape that display. You can scrub, you can spin, you can cry, that's enough. But the internet remembers and it's looking real rough. Screens glow, ain't scroll. Mask on.
Man, I really like that song. Boom, boom, boom. Boom, 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 boom. I love it. How you folks doing today? Welcome to a Friday. I really thought today we would skip a day, man. I thought my voice would be gone today. It is if it cracks up, I apologize. I am running on cough drops and, well, whatever else. We'll keep it maintained. But we had some interesting stuff pop up today. So if I thought, man, we really do need to talk about this today. We have a new hearing that is apparently on the docket for some interesting. It'll be interesting to see. We also have well, we have a few other things too. We have some interesting contradiction as far as posting is concerned. We have let me think, else was there? Let me look at my notes. Give me 1 second. I had a couple of things written down for the day. I always make a note about them. It's always funny to see the shorthand of it too. Ray, man, what's up, Ray? By the way, Ray over talking about talking about certain types of objects, of the sexual variety, with those creepy little smiles and laughs with them. Yuck. Every time. Oh, there's so much weirdness out of this case. I swear, every time I think this is not going to get all like weirder and odder, oh, it does. We've got though, talking about, we really do have a brand new thing to talk about, though. This is a wonderful mediation that is setting up. That's right. This was on the docket for the appeal. The appeal for the Owens mess. Yeah, there's a mediation attempt that is going on that will go on, and I think that would be really interesting to go over. I'm redacting something else I saw in here. I redacted a bunch of it. I redacted some of the names off of it. I don't know exactly, just certain things that don't really matter, like who mediators are and things like that. It's not really that important. And items like, I noticed the ThATs, for example, if they ever get a hold of documents like this, they put out the win. And I'll just say, again, it's on the docket, but I'm not going to throw the exact date. Let's just say soon. But all of that's there. Let's go over a couple of things before we hit that, though. There were a couple of really there's a series that it's kind of started up recently, and I really enjoyed. So I want to go over it. Oh, I was thinking tomorrow, by the way. I was thinking about inviting someone on. What do you think about Mr. Coop? Mr. Coop is somebody they hate so freaking much that I thought it might be fun to invite Mr. Coop on tomorrow for a like Saturday edition. Like I said, these people, they hate Mr. Coop a lot. They've been talking about him quite a bit when they go live. We haven't done a catch up on the ThATs for a hot minute. And what better way to do that than with somebody that they just absolutely just hate. Absolutely hate. So what do you all think about that? I thought it'd be fun. He carries a mic well. And again, they just all hate him. Give me a second. I'm going to chloroseptic myself up and then we're going to go over some stuff. Give me 1 minute. Man, I hate this stuff. Ugh. Tastes like freaking, it's better than that out of date stuff, though. I do have to say that stuff was pretty awful. Okay, check this out, though. Allison over on Facebook has started a very interesting, let's just say, throwback of, I said that that I say one thing and yet I said another as well from the Fats, and I like this. I actually like this series. I like this idea here. So I'm going to read this to you. And this is evidence, since they're always saying, there's no evidence that they ever do the things that we talk about with them lying and whatnot. Well, I like somebody actually saying, you know what? You're wrong. We have evidence that they did. Now, through this, again, this is about the obituaries. Certain somebody created obituaries out there, pretending that they, let's say that they, well, it depends on when they want to frame it. Sometimes they said they wanted to disappear. Other times, depending on who they wrote. Like if they were people close in their life, it was looked like it was to punish them and to make them think that something had gone wrong. But the Fats in them say, no, they've never had another story about how, say, other people have written those. So here's a wonderful, like I said, this is a part 3. Now there's a few other parts. We'll, like I said, I like this series. This is from Allison here. You can see the group with the, go and join it. What's that? Have fun with it, But this is the fleecest things she never said, part 3. Now they note that something's been bothering them for a while, and it's the fake lips obituary scandal. So they decided to go down the rabbit hole. Now we often get told to prove that 2L lies. So here it is. Now many times it's been noted that specific person. There's been a few people that have been blamed for this, by the way. But one name that rolled up a few times is the name Lori Jones. Lori Jones created it. Now, why Lori Jones? I don't know. Sometimes they just randomly bring up people that they don't like on Facebook or something, and they blame them for the creation of things like, again, fake obituaries. It's very strange to just randomly blame somebody for a fake obituary creation, but this is what they decided. So they decided that Lori Jones was to blame for the fake obits. So Allison here wanted to exonerate her and prove that 2L blamed her. Now, unfortunately, the live stream has been made part of a legal filing. So I have quotes from the filing, which are below. She was blamed not once, but twice for the first fake obituary. Now, again, the fake obituaries were definitely out there too. So myself, they apparently the other night decided that they would blame me for originally reading them as well, which is not true. I had them sent to me, but I actually didn't go over them originally. I sat on them for a long time. It was Georgie and Vet Nation. They are the ones that went over them originally the first. And that there's nothing negative about that. They're not the ones who created them. Obviously, by now we know that Leslie Rodriguez created her own fake obituaries, but they blamed many people for this. So to debunk and prove, to definitively prove this, I'll have to access Pacer, which I don't in Australia. They know. So I'll provide case numbers below, so they'll have screenshots. Again, you can check these out at your leisure or post them again and have fun with it. As a live stream transcript from June 19th and 20 is part of one of Lip's dismissed cases as discovery. Now, they mention the first fake obituary because Lips did it twice. That's right, folks, twice. Actually, funny enough, she did it 3 times. That's right. A lot of people, they think that there were only a couple out there, but she actually did it 3 times. What she was doing is she was using sites that aren't they're not like funeral homes or anything. They're just update sites. You know, you can go out, you can type in information yourself, you know, so your family, you can let other people know. Well, that's what she was using. So she did it. At first, it was only on one site. It was there for over a day. It was only on one. Then another pops up, soon to be followed by a second. So you have a gap in time, then it goes boom, delay, boom, boom. It's kind of like that, where they drop. It was kind of odd. And they're not just pictures. What's really crazy about it, too, when you look it up, it's supposed to it's supposed to I guess push feelings with it by not just utilizing her, but also by utilizing her entire family. Her entire family's photos were put up by her as part of it. And again, they blamed random people. So the Fats have been saying, no, they never blamed us. Yeah, they did. So again, this is all part of that. I kind of love that. I kind of love that they get caught. So unbelievably, whilst we were otherwise distracted, and because she didn't yet admit to faking her obituary, like she did again in September 2025, the screenshot below. I wonder why people I asked kept telling me September 2025 when I was sure it was earlier. Well, now I know. Both times she used it as quote unquote evidence of cyberbullying and harassment. That's exactly right. You know, before she was using this as a callback. In fact, I think it was an accident that they clarified that she made them. I think, you know, she just has a problem of running off at the mouth. She suffers from, well, you know, the verbal, I hate that. I hate a certain word. So I'm just going to say verbal, well, the opposite of constipation. I hate it. I always hated it as a kid. I always hated like poop jokes too much or anything. So I just don't even want to throw that in there. But she definitely, if anybody suffers from those wordings, her. But finally, she debunked herself on live stream, screenshot below, and admitted to taking her own obituary with, you know, they give timestamps as well, if you need to know about that. If the people in the U.S. also want to research further, genetics, that you would appreciate it, as I'm sure Lori would as well. And any available copies of the June 19th, 20th transcripts, as the video is no longer available on YouTube. And that's the thing. See, they like to ghost the material, you know. They like to ghost it all. By the way, I've got the obids too. I've got the screenshots from them as well as when they were posted as well. But I don't like to repost or show them because they have her kids. She put a picture of herself and her kids in them. So it's kind of, you know. But here's the screenshots. I'll show them to you. Give me 1 second. Let me lock this on so you can actually see what's on here, okay? 1 minute. I think it's amazing though. Like I said, these people, when they go through, they 100% lie about this stuff. So here's the screenshots that showcase this with it. So Legally Leslie, you know, during that time frame, you have 2L essentially state, quote, "I'm telling you guys, it wasn't us. Lori Jones is the one who did that." Talking about the obituary. "We don't roll like that." We don't roll like that. We roll like something else, I guess. They roll like a spare tire down a hill. Oh my God, by the way. So just as a brief aside from this, I saw another one of these folks over here. You know, these people that make fun of the way other folks look? You know, the ones that I'm going to say digitally catfish. I think especially, you know, when you take it and try to make yourself look like a young, like a 20-year-old or even less, let's say, endowed female, so you can digitally catfish people, and you definitely aren't that thing. Yeah, and then you use that as kind of a springboard to make fun of the way other people look. That is something. That is definitely a choice. When I saw, like I said, I just saw another one of these people that I had not seen before. And I was like, wow, that person makes fun of how other people look. You have got to be kidding me. I swear. It reminds me, like, if Pac-Man were realistic, like a person, if you were to like, if you were to take their eating habits and turn it into a real human being, well, we have another one out there. So isn't that something? But yeah, like I said, they make fun of how other people look all the time. Gross people. They look exactly like you would think they would do. They look exactly like it. They look like some nasty busybody, just these gross people that you would never listen to in real life, but they've attached themselves to Jeremy Hale. So, of course, they've given their name something. I'm not going to say credibility, but they've amplified it in a way nobody would ever amplify it anyway. But continuing, they say, we don't roll like that. She's the one you need to be talking to. Again, that's paraphrasing with that. But you can see, too, okay, when you look, you'll notice. Yeah, see, there's actually multiple places that are popping up here. There's 3. Check this out. So you had Ever Loved. That was the first one that was screenshot from. And when you pulled them, actually, what they did is they had an image at the front, but they also, when you hit Google Images for something, it would pull up an image, like I said, of not just her, but her entire family. She had, and again, she apparently took that whole obituary and mailed it through sock puppet accounts to family members. So, in order to just treat them like garbage and, well, to make them hopefully suffer, she was taking this stuff and pretending it was real. Again, to people she thought would hurt. But it may, here, actually, give me a second. Let me screenshot this for you so we can blow it up. All right. Because I know that's probably a little harder to see. 1 second here. Take me just a minute. If I screenshot, I can take it off of Facebook and pull it. But, I've been trying. I forget people like to credit them, and I mean to credit them. If you do work, I do want to credit you. And I like this little series. I think you could have a lot of fun going in and pointing out all of the absurdities by these people. But if you look, here it is. So you can see that she was also, it was amazing. She was like, they doxed my area. Dude, you put up fake obituaries where the area in Florida you're from. What's up? But you can see, like, with profound sadness, we announce the passing of Lips, who left us on September 23rd, 2025. What was weird is she kept changing her birth year. That was the strange thing about it, too. In order to, I believe that was done to try to mislead people about who did it, because who gets their birth year wrong, But she kept changing her birth year. Like here, she was born in 1977. Here, she was born in 1980. You can see it on that one. And she supposedly passed on in 2025. And there's another one that noted that she had been born, I believe this one had the right, or rather the same year as another one, but had a different date, if I'm not mistaken. I believe each one of them was changed up like that, which I personally believe was put into play to try to make it look like other people. And they ran with it. They absolutely ran with it. They ran with it, trying to say again that this was something that was done by people for Jeremy Hales. You know, those people that supposedly get paid by Jeremy Hales. Yeah, they ran with it. And then she accidentally gave away the game. And after she gave away the game, then they changed it up. And they were like, oh, actually, she did that because she was fleeing or whatever. You know, some kind of weird bullshit that she, I mean, it's always, it's an ever changing narrative, but it's kind of weird and kind of wild. But yeah, we pulled up all of those. And on top of it, too, that was also posted on, give me a second here. It was also posted to yeah, there it is. Give me 1 second. I'm finding, I've got another screenshot, because I was like, wait a minute, I believe she also posted that to Twitter, and she did in this screenshot. Give me 1 minute, I'll pull this up for you here. Trying to pull everything around it out of it, and I'm also making sure it has pictures. I'm making sure the picture doesn't come up. So I'm screenshotting it, because down at the bottom of it, again, it's got her whole family, which is so manipulative. You know, it is absolutely freaking manipulative. But she had, never mind. It's too close to the freaking people. I was going to screenshot it off there, but I don't want to do that. It keeps grabbing a little piece of, you get the idea anyway. But yeah, it got posted over on Twitter. But it was just so manipulative. Can you imagine? Can you also imagine too? I kept thinking this was at the time, you know, she talked about the school thing. One of her students could have ran across that. It was like, why would you do this? You know, why exactly would you fake an obituary? And then again, like I said, we knew that she had something to do with it for sure once it started mailing to family members. And of course, over time, she ends up admitting to it, which we did keep that live stream. God, there's so much of this stuff, though. It's so wild. I was looking at the little part. That's around November of last year, when all of her explosion, when she comes back and starts posting like the 100+ videos and all of this other stuff, you know, and then ghosted them all. God, this stuff is so crazy. All right, let me bring that back up. Give me 1 second. But on top of it, if you're curious, they also added, and I appreciate them doing this too, they added in stream items, the when and the wherefores, and of course, lovely pictures. But I like that series there. The, hey, when the fat said, because they posted a lot of, again, they've posted a lot of things, and they always say that there's, prove it, prove that they've done this, prove that they've done that. Well, she decided that she would take them and really kind of show what has been said versus there. If you noticed on that post too, it was a part 3. Part 2 was the court mess, where they said that they didn't post anything from the Ohio hearing. You know, they just heard from somebody at a break, and yet they were giving you live updates. Lots of fun. All right. I also want to show you a couple other things, and then we're going to get to the new document. Give me 1 second. I'm scanning backwards. There were a bunch the other day. There were quite a few Preston sightings over in the ThATuMBRELLAgUY, and I always like putting these on record. You know, the live streams work as a record to keep up with all this crazy. So let's pull some of those up real quick too. You know, we had all these LP sightings. And the LP sightings, this is when, again, we looked at a couple of these where they were trying to blame the madness mostly on Shara. Everything was Shara's fault. But she kept putting up stupid things too, like, oh, did you know I've been accused of putting signs all over the state of Florida now? What? By who? Who accused you of doing what now? Wait a minute. Again, they do so much oddity. Now, the thumbnail in here, the reason I want to point this stuff out too is because when we get to the mess that is talking about the appeal, the Dan Owen mess, that in a mediation call, meeting rather, the reason that exists at all is because of this person here, these people, because they do whatever the fuck. They talk about all of this stuff all of the time, and nobody does anything about it. It's very strange. They put out all these strange, the funny thing too is the way the punctuation and everything is. I was like, that's not LP. That was my original way of going with it. But the Fats have acknowledged this as LP. And they've made a few statements. So, okay, as far as that goes, it's either LP or another one of their weird freaking games where they bury LP under a bunch more allegations. Later on when it goes sideways, it won't be her though. Now, this is when she was also talking about sales. Now, I love the fact I will close out each one and open them back up like this because there's a big screenshot at the top. So that's why I'm closing and opening. But she was talking about selling. I hope to be posting pictures of sterling silver jewelry on my It's a Shell Thing page to care for tortoises, etc. What's etc., by the way? What does etc. mean in that? I thought the whole excuse, the way of trying to take this money and not report it to bankruptcy. By the way, too, when she talks about the jewelry and everything else, I'm very curious how the jewelry belongs to the turtles, and yet she uses it. Some of it had been set aside for the kid she talked about, but she was pulling it out. She was going to save it for them, but I was like, well, how does that belong to the tortoises? But, well, what does the etc. mean? Etc. Yeah, it's going to be used for them and else. Okay, that's kind of, again, it's almost like a weird admission. You know what I'm saying? But whatever floats your boat there. But she's talking about, again, during bankruptcy time, of selling off things. I'm opening a whatnot store, quote unquote, for tortoises this week as well. For tortoises, I'm opening a whatnot store. Like I said, this woman is going to end up causing herself all types of problems. She is. They tried to touch on the bankruptcy thing in the lightest way possible the other night. They skipped over everything that we had discussed for that. They didn't go back for it either, which I thought was kind of interesting. The whole thing about how these people that are discussed here, their primary function is recovering money, recovering it for creditors, because not just out of their civic duty, no, because they get a fat slice of it. There's a 40% that goes over. So you don't think that they want to recover $100,000? You don't think that they find every one of these posts interesting? Because I'll tell you what, that's what you find out from those bankruptcy filings. Again, we were going through and they were talking about how, oh yeah, here's how we figure up how much money that we actually get comped from this. It was an eye-opening experience. I was like, man, I actually did not realize how much liability, I like that word liability, by the way, but how much liability that these people were potentially taking on. I mean, it's wild, you know, and on there too, Bender, and again, I'm not saying anything negative about this. I'm just, you know, I mean, they're brought in, they obviously should be paid for their services, but their services, they don't get paid after the fact. You know, it's not like agreement. They get paid by what they recover. So they're extra motivated to be recovering money. You know, the Fats have been out there saying, well, there's nothing in these documents that says anything about $100 grand. I'm like, yeah, they may not say $100 grand, but what they do say is that there's a lot of money. Again, here, let's pull that up, actually, just with this screenshot, and then we'll go forward in screenshots. I want to make this point and make it as clear as possible here for people, just in case you missed out on this wonderful point here. You know, if you look, the trustees with the application, they talked about with it, fees in the case will be charged on a 40% contingency fee based on, and they go through how that works. Then on top of it, they give you kind of a breakdown matrix of how it works. Now there's a typo in one of their examples, but they tell you here, you know, with the terms, they say that the company will have priority administration expense claim in the amount equal to the total sum of 40% of the gross amount of all funds or assets collected, i.e. brought into the estate for administration and or liquidated for the benefit of the bankruptcy estate, whether previously disclosed by the debtor or not. I think I have a writer. Hey, what's up, kiddo? I heard you coming.
What's up?
Hey, come here. Give me a hug.
Did you hear that crack?
Yeah. Did you have you looked? Did that mouse get caught yet?
No.
It didn't.
Yeah.
Okay. I was just wondering. Yeah, somebody was like, "There's a mouse in my room."
I actually saw a mouse.
You did see it?
Yes.
Yeah. Well, it's because your room was gross, wasn't it?
Yeah, but it's not really gross anymore.
Well, it still needs to be cleaned up, but it's better, right?
Yes.
It's better.
Oh no, Henry.
We put up some mouse traps, right?
Yeah, we only put up 2.
Yeah.
If he grabs one of them, we have to get with the other. We have to get with the other.
Well, hopefully, yeah. Hopefully he'll hit it and it'll deal with our mouse problem there, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Well, he won't be. Like I said, if you keep your room clean, then you won't have that problem, you know?
He would just...
That's where you've been hiding food, you know?
Don't ask.
Don't ask about it. Oh, man, look. Andre said $2. Can you say thank you?
Thank you.
Andre said that's for not cleaning her candy. Oh, my goodness. Man. Yep, that's for your maid you keep talking about, I guess.
I need a maid. We actually need a maid.
We actually need a maid, huh?
Yeah. Because we can be just relaxing without cleaning.
Oh, yeah. Relaxing without cleaning. Yeah. You can be like, oh, you can hold your pinky out like really fancy and just be like, oh, I don't need to pick up this litter. Oh, pick up my candy wrappers.
Yeah. And we do. We actually need to get made. So for your dad.
You're a nut. All right. But hey, go upstairs, baby. Okay. Hey, Emma sent you $2. Can you say thank you?
Thank you.
She said that's for the cleaning crew. That way you can get your cleaning crew. You can hire them.
And the maid.
Well, that's what it is. The maid. That's part of the cleaning crew for you, right?
Cleaning crew.
Yeah, it's a cleaning crew. Yep. So you don't have to clean it, right? Oh, hey, look, it's the Floofy cat. You know, the Floofy cat had been in the hospital. You want to tell Floofy cat to get better?
Get better?
Yeah. I've been thinking about the Floofy cat there. It says the Floofy purrs to hear you. So that's good, you know. They've been to the hospital, though. So said it's good to hear they've been getting better though. So that's good to know, right? You know?
And someone sent us money.
Yeah. Well, Pickled Tink sent some money. Ask the question. I'll get your question in a minute. But can you say thank you there too?
Thank you.
They sent 2 as well. All right. Hey, go upstairs though so I can finish my live stream, or well, I can keep my live stream going, okay? Love you, kiddo.
Right there.
You'll have fun, all right? She's been on the cleaning kick for today. She had help. I know you got a lot of cleaning done, right? Yeah. All right. Well, close the door for me. Thank you, baby. Eshawn, I'll tell her in a minute. She'll be back, I'm sure. Love you too, baby. Close my door. Thank you. Oh, let me wake the computer back up. She's hyper. She was like, "Oh, there's a mouse. There's a mouse in my room." You know, after we caught that one mouse, and I was like, "I don't know. Are you sure there's a mouse?" So, you know, we started looking around anywhere she could put something or hide food, and she was hiding food. And sure enough, there was some mouse trays. And I was like, "You cannot hide food. You know, you can't hide stuff like candy and things." When I say hide food, I'm talking about like candy, so her sissy wouldn't get into it and then forget about it. I was like, "You can't forget you got candy somewhere, or you know, you got to put that stuff up." That's why I would keep them, you know, put away, and even then the mice try to get into them. She's funny though. But anyway, so as I was saying about fees and contingency, the company that is brought in, or the lawyer or law firm that is brought in, again, they represent an attempt to recover whether or not it's been disclosed. You know, and that's a big notation of it. It's not just the stuff that they knowed. 1 second. It's not just it's not just whether, again, they've disclosed it or not. So they think they've got it in their mind. They've got it in their mind that things that can only be recovered if. One second, I got to clear my throat. All right, let's see. Sorry about that. Man, I've been opening, I don't know if you can hear them. I've been opening cough drops like they're freaking Skittles over here. I've been trying not to do that on the mic either. But they talk about, again, expenses and the value. It comes from value of property brought into the bankruptcy estate or liquidated, and how it's based upon the gross amount of money recovered, regardless of any deal they've had before. It's not how it works. So they do a breakdown. Now, in this, I'm guessing by the way of example, you know, there's a 20% contingency here, but that's probably just for example's sake, you know, because in this instance, they're taking 40%, which is quite a bit of money. But the facts were like, it doesn't say anything about $100,000 on there. And I was like, no, it talks about 40% of recovered assets, no matter what, no matter if it's been disclosed previously or not. Now, on this as well, it talks about the lady's, her services and what they cost. Now, now again, you think about it, the whole point I'm going over this is she's putting up all these ads talking about selling things, quote unquote, on behalf of the turtles. You don't think the bankruptcy estate, the people who claim 40% of anything recovered and liquidated, you don't think that they might have an interest in what you're trying to sell off there? You don't think they're looking at it and thinking, 40 cents out of every dollar that you sell is mine? You don't think it might tick them off that you're selling assets that, again, like she sold a purse the other day, for example. The purse was for the turtles? How does that work? You have an old purse? That certainly doesn't belong to someone else. How exactly do the turtles have an old purse that you said was like new, you'd never used before? That's kind of weird, you know, but this person gets $450 an hour for their services. And on top of it, if they have to have legal assistants come in, that's $125 an hour. Clerks, they're brought in at $95 an hour. Plus, I'm sure, they talked about in the filings as well, costs that would include things like experts being brought in, Again, you don't trifle with these people. And I'm not, I hate having to note things like this for these people, because again, I'm the last person to want to be like, man, the government, but this was their idea. They decided to trifle with these folks. You don't do that. So let's pull up another one. So here she was like, oh, with the temperatures dropping, as they are, the electric bills is high, so they're going to be selling off stuff, from under the 501c3. Again, I think there is something inherently wrong with our system when you cannot afford, according to you, to live on your own, but you, instead of making money for yourselves, you're quote unquote making money for turtles, to pay for their electric and shit. Like I said, there is something inherently wrong with this notion, but you had people asking her, hey, are you going to be, you can see during this, hey, are you going to be auctioning off with Whatnot? Are you going to be on Whatnot? Are you going to auction there? Hey, are you going to open up? You going to be doing this stuff there? And she's like, yeah, Whatnot. And they're like, oh, good for you, Lynette. You can see where she actually does tell them, yep, she's going to be using Whatnot. She's been trying to auction anywhere that she can. And they're like, oh, that's great. It's funny too, all these people that previously, again, were talking about doing wellness checks on her and all this other crazy shit. Now they're all like, oh, I think that's something that we're going to do. I like to, like, you can tell, you want to see something really funny in this. So when she's talking too, she's like, well, I'm not really sure of that yet. Someone's helping me with the white knot, Whatnot, the white knot. I was like, yep, there. That doesn't sound good, by the way. I don't understand the people. I typo things, right? But like if I do a voice too, I always make sure that what I tell it comes through correctly, because some of that stuff, like the white knot, sounds like some really bad racist stuff or something. And I'm not saying she said something racist, but it sounds like that, doesn't it? The white knot. Wait, what? What? The what now? She's like, I got someone helping me with the Whatnot. Huh, that's interesting, isn't it? I'm gonna bet money it's probably one of these people that she's dumped on before in the past too. Probably somebody like Marla who busybodies her way into everything. Even when they tell her, she's hated, she's like, oh, they're my best friends. Like they've told you they hate you, Marla. Oh, they're still my best friends. Oh, it's sad. Marla's such a sad person, in my opinion. Let's look at some more of these too. She said this sweet old lady who owns a booth by me, she's actually helping me. Like, She also wanted Lisa approval. This made me think, what the what? Because, they've gone from, again, remember, they were talking about how she could not be trusted. And again, they've called the police on each other. They both have. That's not something, again, I've had spats with people, sure. But I'll tell you, you start calling the police on me, you can try to play games publicly and pretend that people are friends or anything, but these people are going to go knives out yet again. I mean, they tried to ruin each other publicly. But it went from that to, oh, Lisa, can I say I'm selling something next week? Oh, can I give announcements of what I'm saying? It's like, are you kidding me? These people are so scummy. And they manipulate the shit out of their audiences, because that's manipulative as hell, too. Oh, you know what's amazing as well? Like the manipulative bullshit. While she's talking about selling things, she's like, if I could wiggle my nose and make that kind of magic, I wouldn't be living here anymore. Well, you chose to move to this place. Again, I would love for somebody to tell me that they just randomly, again, their story of just randomly moving to this place, it fell apart. It definitely fell apart when Jamie Starr Johnson started providing screenshots of them watching the Hales, on TV, and they took pictures about signage and all of that. It totally destroyed that narrative. She didn't. So I wouldn't live here anymore. Man, you chose. I'd be living my happy life on a farm with all of my family surrounding, lots of gardens. You've had your family there with you, but a bunch of them you ran off. So I'm really confused about that as well. Like the greatest grandson ever that suddenly wasn't the greatest grandson ever. I digress, on that subject. But they also, again, as part of this was the Attack Shara stream that they had, Now, some of these are going to be out of sequence. I apologize, but I don't really care, just to be honest. I don't care so much. This might have been, by the way, I can't remember who put these up. This might have been Allison as well from earlier. She may have actually been the person who put up screenshots. I'll have somebody screenshot. I'll pick up a couple there. I'll also have people mail them. So sometimes I don't know the originating person, but I believe I saw her post a bunch of them. Now, again, if I'm wrong, if you're the person who's screening, again, you take your bow, your flowers on that for sure, because I appreciate the hell out of that. Like I said, my memory has been spotchy as of late. So nothing meaning that. I definitely would like to give whoever deserves credit. You sat through that awful crap. You wade through that stuff. You deserve your accolades. But this was him talking about, well, I believe it was Lowe's. Actually, I believe it was Home Depot. It's kind of wild that me as an outsider, me with, like I said, my memory that is just, gapped full of holes. I remember that Shara was helping out with Home Depot, but she's helping them out. She's doing all of this stuff. And what does Shara get with it? She gets this kind of stuff. She gets treated like garbage. Oh, man. Oh, she yelled at a manager, trying to get them to give her a discount. And they were just furious. The manager told her no because she yelled at her. First of all, you notice these are people that, again, were given money by Shara. She paid for all the insulation that was out there, and they treat her like garbage when they talk about her. I mean, and it's part of it. Even when in this stuff, they'll smear her. So check this out too. Oh yeah, they're also. I love it. They've got people in there. They're like, "Oh, Michelle, it's so good to see you back with us." It's like, man, you guys were talking about wellness checks on the lady. It's hilarious. I mean, I hope every one of you morons over there and the antis, I hope you start giving this lady money again, and then make sure you filter it through Lisa though, so she never gets a penny of it. Oh my god. By the way, too, there was complaints about the Did you know that they were going to show what happened with Christmas? And this group of people over there, you know, the quote unquote kids that were helped out the video, they told their backers that they would provide. They were going to show it, but privacy concerns. You know, since that works so well with the bench, why not reuse it, right? Oh my God, this stuff, it is such a farce, you know. It's such a freaking farce. But back with us indeed. I'm just showing you all the screen. There's a bunch of them. But she also, okay, for Shara attacking her. Here's some more of those too. You know, because Shara again has to be somebody they attack. Oh, she didn't just yell at me. She was abusive to me. What? I'll tell you, there is somebody that likes the yell, and yeah, I don't see it being Shara. But accusing Shara, look, now Shara is the person that abused. You know, again, I've got voice freaking recording of her talking about 2L, which is so funny because she just goes from person to person. Whomever in the moment is not useful to her anymore, and she says that person is abusive. They're a monster in some way, and this is what people get for helping them out. I feel actually, you know, from the people early on, like the Sharas, for example, I feel bad for them, you know, because I mean they came in with this idea that they were going to do good. They were going to help this person out. They had no idea that later on they were going to be accused of being abusers. You know, that they had done something awful. And not, again, you know, just like the Fats. The Fats say it's so funny to take shots at Char. Well, again, they want people to forget that she accused her of the same thing. It's such, I mean, again, I'm not laughing at the Sharas, because that's, again, it's sad. You know, early on, especially the people that popped into this early on, I had no idea. You have this person that is selling a narrative that obviously, folks, they haven't looked into yet. They're still trying to market it. They've been bragging that they've gotten some YouTuber to look at it, and they've been comparing to some other case, you know, and I'm like, that other case, by the way, is nothing like their case. They think it's a simple, they're trying to pass this off as a simple, you know, you made a video about a person and they sued you. This is one of the craziest cases I've ever seen. And these people don't stop. Anybody that would be put in this position, they would most definitely sue a person for this. You know, some of the claims that they have made too, holy God, and continue to make or recruit people to do. I mean, it's unreal. This case is unreal. But you're like, she was so abusive. She was rude, nasty, ordered me around like, go get this, go take a picture of that, get it now, I need it. It was awful. John heard her. Yeah, John, the guy you said lies all the time and hates women, that guy. Everyone believed John because he's definitely been held up as this wonderful source that everyone can believe. These people, man, they are like a ridiculous comedy routine. I swear. And you know, again, they pop back in. They tell you they don't do any of this stuff, by the way. Lynette's like, I don't get online. I don't do this or I don't do that. I had the feeling that her lawyer told her to shut up. And here she is yet again getting involved. More power to her. I mean, what a strategy, right? What a strategy. Oh, Lord. At least they're entertaining, I swear. But, I mean, blaming Shara, again, you know, and at the same time, when they were doing that, let's see, I'm skipping a couple because they talk about the kid. I don't want to throw anything out. Yeah, when they were talking about, it was funny too. She was talking about her whole delusion of I'm going to live on a farm, and she was like, by canning myself, by canning myself, silly, I'd be prepping and growing and planting, being me milking a goat. Oh my God, dude. And these people are like, hey, you should probably watch what you say. Oh, two. Another one as well. I've got a picture of this. I've got to find this post real quick. I sent it over to myself. So she brings up Tina, Tina, that she was like, oh, she played me the whole time. It's the same thing she does with Shara and other folks as well. But she blames her and talks about her saying that she was going to get her a shoe stand. Now, Tina actually did say something about this, and she actually did order a shoe stand. But Lynette Preston treated her like so much garbage, according to her, that she was like, I wasn't going to give her that. I ended up having it redirected to myself. Because why wouldn't you? Of course, I mean, that makes sense, right? Like if somebody was treating me like garbage and talking smack about me all the time, I would most definitely not give them anything for myself. But I was trying to see, God, there is so much oddity and weirdness. I've been going through making notes of some of the things that they throw at other people. I actually feel bad for people that they get put in a situation where they have to ask themselves, like, what do I do in this? Do I go forward? Do I talk about these people? Because they're going to try to make my life hell. And, I mean, many of them, oh, here's that post. I found it. Give me a second. Because Tina actually talked about that. Let me mail that over to myself, and then just give me 1 second. I had to find it real quick because she actually brought this up, and I thought this was worth discussing here. When if you're going to have character assassination, she said, Tina even said she was buying me a shoe stand. She faked me out so bad. She just faked me out. She called somebody so many names, talked about everybody, but totally lied about everything. Oh. Yeah, so as long as you thought that she was there for you to destroy other people, it's okay. But when the lady gets tired of, seeing the way that you comport yourself, the way you take aim at other people, and they're like, now more of that. Yeah. So here's the post. There was actually a post about this, so check it out. I totally forgot about this one. Here's Pam Carson discussing. Here's the, by the way, here's the shelf Tina had tagged in. This was a couple of days ago, you can see. So this isn't really old. But here's the shelf I helped purchase, she noted. It's amazing how easy, it is to change shipping addresses. So now, folks, there's no lying there. This is the shoe rack that was being discussed. Yeah, she had bought something for her, and she was like, hey, you're going to go out and you're going to attack me in public and say all these and threaten me. Why would I give you anything? That's how it goes there. I definitely wouldn't. And, Pam Carson talked about this. So listen to this stuff. This is nuts. So Tina was interested in a turtle rescue because she donates turtles yearly in the memory of her son. However, when she pulled up a 501c3 paperwork, saw no expenses or income, she questioned it, posted and asked questions. When LP received a turtle from the inbox from UPS, and it died. Tina spoke to UPS and had an issue with that. Filed a report on that, which of course LP took credit for the turtle stuff in the AH video. This was when someone hacked her late son's account from the anti side. She had to change rather everything. The account was hacked. Someone even went in, deleted photos, did all kinds of stuff. And Marla, in her glorious wisdom, yes, I'm choking on that word, they know, decided to post Tina's son's information and his picture. Tina asked Marla, one mother to another, to remove it, and kind and decent as Marla is, she basically told Tina to F off. She made a post to Tina saying, "Get over it, Tina. Ernie," that would be her son, "is dead." So Tina reached out to LP asking her to get Marla to remove it. LP said she would. Actually, LP actually did try to get Marla to, but Marla doubled down. The post still remains up. That's how Tina ended up meeting LP. She was no one's fan at first. She was just watching. So the really question should be, what does Tina really know? What all proof does she have? And how pissed off can they make her to dredge through her memory and remember everything? And they keep bringing her up. Like I said, from that post, you can see this right here. Yeah. So that's actually how that came together. Just by the way, if people were curious about what had transpired and how all of that was connected. Now, as far as the other one that I want to show here, this just shows you how kindness is treated too, as they've been dumping on Shara. Shara bought the insulation. Look, they're telling you this while attacking Shara. They're like, she bought the insulation for the shed, and it was very nice of her, and I'm thankful for that part of it. But I can't be thankful for what else she did to me. So even with Shara expending money, paying for her, she's like, screw her because she didn't walk that line with me. She wasn't a puppet. She wasn't a drone for them. Therefore, I want a bunch of clowns, man. But I mean, they had, like, she came out and that's all it was. It was an attack. This person had, again, had done a lot for them. They could have all, with Shar, the funniest, maybe not funny, the weirdest, I guess, thing is they could have all walked away from Shara. No muss, no fuss, but they didn't want to. They wanted to make Shara pay because she didn't do what they wanted. So they went in, and this is a person that, again, had been worried that they would retaliate and do all kinds of awful stuff because she listened to them. When they make fun of how Shara worries about how these people are, well, that's because she had insight into who they are. She heard them talking about what they wanted to do. Remember, she was one of the people. She was the first one that told us about some of the crazy statements that came from John Cook. Oh, so she absolutely had a reason to worry about these folks because they said some pretty crazy, not just awful, but just off the wall, crazy freaking things. So, I mean, like I said, there's let me see. This is funny too. Now that LP is damage controlling, she's like, "Oh, Lisa, you've never ordered me or around or belittled me. You've never done these things." Wait, what? You spent all this time posting online about how she abused you. What are you talking about, lady? You crazy freaking piece of garbage. Again, it's whoever is useful in the moment. If you're useful in that moment, then heck yeah, you're the greatest thing since sliced bread. But if you ever don't have that specific use anymore, they'll turn on you, and they'll turn on you quickly. And they do it all the time. They eat each other. And, you know, I wouldn't care. I mean, I find it funny, but the thing that really, I guess, hits me with this is the fact that, again, you know, they go back and forth accusing each other of the worst things possible, and how she used information that was given to her about John Cook. All kinds of stuff. See, I mean, this is the same person, by the way. I feel like I need to throw this in right here. Let's throw this in real fast. I'll just let it play. This is the same person that said this.
I'll just say this. I want nothing more than to see Lisa pay for what she's done to me.
Okay.
Because I almost feel like she's done worse to me than I call him my stalker, sorry, but I feel like she's worse to me than even he did. So I'm been more hurt by what she did.
Lisa did you very
And
well.
one of the reasons why is because she made my little girl love her. She made my little girl love her. And then she freaking did this.
But remember, she's never mistreated. Isn't that amazing? It depends on the day and how useful you are. You know, you've never ordered me around. You never belittled me, but that Shara did, till I yelled and was in tears from her doing it. She yelled at the manager of Lowe's as well. She's faked being sweet. It's like, are you kidding me right now? These people, dude. Oh my God. I mean, their stories, just depending on the day, depending on the moment, they change. I mean, from day to day, well, not even from day to day. Sometimes it's from like minute to minute, just depending on, like, again, who in their life they're wanting as a bad guy. But you notice the one constant is that it's never them that does any wrong. It's always everyone else. Now let's look at this new stuff, okay? And I think this is what you're here for, right? So give me a minute here. Let me pull this up. This is about the Dan Owen case. Just a note, you know, with the whole Dan Owen thing. Again, remember, you are now at the appeals process stage. And as a part of that, give me a second here, there was a notice of Zoom mediation that was dispatched. Now, just give me one second. I'm making sure that I didn't leave anything in here. I'm always, you don't have to redact anything, but I'm tired of people intentionally, like the Thats, they will intentionally put out when a meeting takes place, you know, when something is supposed to transpire. And I think that's wrong, you know, I absolutely do. Because that's, that ends up having interruption. So you can see the notice of Zoom mediation. Now, this is actually kind of interesting because, you know, it's a judge's discretion on how, if you're going to order this or not. It also, you could have, insurance companies will sometimes look at an issue, you know, and they'll be like, well, cost versus, and, you know, they'll want to go to a table. I mean, even there's also liability on that's part of the state and its endless money that it pumps out of you, by the way. It still will sometimes look at what's there and try to decide whether or not that they need to do something, you know. So check this out. Let's go through. So the above appeal is scheduled for mediation pursuant to The purpose of mediation is to explore possibilities for settlement of the parties' dispute in its entirety, including any related claims that have not yet been, that may not yet be ripe for the 11th Circuit review. The mediation is to be held on Zoom on, again, I redacted here. Let's just say it's upcoming. You know, and so I'm sure all this will come out, but you know, again, pretty soon you will receive again, it talks about the link that who cares there. Now, as far as mediation is concerned, look at this, 3 hours. You have to set aside 3 hours for mediation discussion. That's quite a bit of discussion, don't you think, with the other side, trying to figure out exactly what's going on. Now, again, well, the reason I bring up even with the thumbnail on that, because remember, the whole idea, the thing that was brought up, and this is probably the most difficult case to win out of everything, would be the case with Dan Owen. You know, because going against our governmental apparatus, even when they're wrong, they a lot of times aren't wrong. You know what I mean? Even when they've done something terrible, there are so many rules that protect government officials in wrongdoing. It's amazing. Stuff like you and I, we would never get away with. You know, we don't get to claim, for example, I didn't know that. You know, my ignorance of the law is not an excuse for breaking the law for you or I. But do you know that for people in authority positions, it absolutely is. It's when they use all the time. So it's just amazing. But for mediation with this, 3 freaking hours they should allow. That's nuts. You know, they provide a copy of this 3-page notice to your client, to any parties below who require to participate, and counsel as well. That's nuts, man. You know, so who all there, of course, who needs to, unless they're wavered, like what parties? Well, there would be clients, of course, your client, and a representative of any person or entity directly affected financially by the outcome of this litigation must personally participate. Also, insurers, a representative of any insurance company, either as a party or non-party, that is not offered policy limits must personally participate with authority and discretion to settle up policy limits or the amount of the claimant's last settlement demand, whichever is less. If an insured party has any exposure outside of policy limits or has control or influence on the amount paid within the policy limits, then both the insured parties and the representative must personally participate. That's kind of interesting, I thought. Governmental entities, When a party is a governmental entity that approves settlements by deliberative session, then a member of the deliberating body or the entity's executive director or a person expressly designated by the director must personally participate. Again, I'm just reading through stuff just to give you an idea of how this goes. And, you know, it's so novel because you typically don't see the process for something like this play out. You don't see it play out from go. And again, lawsuits against anyone in a position of authority, they are a slog. They are, because it's an uphill battle, man. It is. It's an uphill battle. This is the hardest one. There are elements in Fed 2. Some of them, I think, yeah, some parties, I'm like, well, I don't know. I don't know what will happen with those parties. I think the easiest ones have been won. I think Fed 1 is probably, I think with the way it was left, the way it's gone, the way it's set up, man, if that moves forward, again, all you got to do is move forward to a jury. If you move forward to a jury, these people will get eaten alive in front of a jury. They're getting alive. So, you know, ranking it from most difficult to to easiest. I think we've seen the easiest, you know, of course, but okay. Hey, thank you, Starcasm. That's good. Yeah, I was going to redirect to Jay today, but Jay, yeah, this is the one day for sure. Like Jay owns the nighttime with this one, so he's sick. I hear you because like I said, I just don't miss days unless I'm like, oh my god, I'm gonna die. Even then, there have been some pretty awful sounding videos and streams out there by myself. Every few years, I get hit with a pretty good one, and I'm like, oh my god, help me. But I still live stream. But I've missed days too, so props to Jay. I hope he gets better, man. You know, by the way, if you'd like to contribute to, actually, you know what? Tomorrow, we should raise money for Jay's health. We won't give him any of it, but we should definitely raise money for his health. I think that's what I'll do tomorrow night. I think I'll have on Coop and I'll raise money for Jay's health. Then I'll use it to pay for it. It's like, good Lord, over the last man, I've already, maybe I'll use it to pay off the insurers and stuff on my side of it. Man, these people eat you alive at the beginning of the year. I hate them. So, all right. So authority. Representative parties must have authority to dismiss any affirmative claim unconditionally or to pay a claim or most recent settlement demand in full if the client representative's sole discretion resolution on that basis is appropriate. Representatives for governmental entities that make decisions collectively must have authority to negotiate on behalf of and to make recommendation to such entity concerning settlement. All parties and counsel are required to participate in mediation in good faith and with the intention of attempting to settle on a basis all parties can accept. So you got to have a good faith effort in mediation discussions. That's what they tell you anyway, right? Confidential media. Now they have, again, now with this, counsel is part of this. Counsel sends them a confidential mediation statement assessing the prospects of the appeal. Now in that, the counsel should address the topics raised on page 3 of this notice, which we'll look at in just a second. They have to mail over everything, and this will not be shared with the other side and won't be part of a court file. So as far as everything is concerned, I actually don't like that idea, by the way. I don't like that at all. I don't like the fact that a governmental entity is communicating with other people about anything whatsoever, and you don't have access to it. I don't like that idea in any way whatsoever, because just being honest, I don't trust governmental entities at all. So, you know, when they're doing things behind closed doors, as it were, I just don't trust them to do things in good faith, ever. You should have a very healthy skepticism when it comes to your government. You know, that is part of why our Constitution is designed the way it is. So mediation guidelines. All participants are required to read the mediation guidelines. These guidelines, you hear what's crazy about the guidelines? Let me show you this, by the way. You would expect this to be like quite a bit, right? You would think, man, there's a lot of information in mediation guidelines. Yeah, no, not really. I mean, when you get down to mediation, so check this out for the 11th Circuit for mediation. Here's a question. When I pull this up, I'm just curious what you think beforehand. When I go to pull up the mediation guideline, this is a bureaucracy. How many pages do you expect to see? You know, I mean, just honestly, like for myself, I expect to see hundreds of pages. You know what I mean? Anything done with bureaucracy in mind, with rules and conditions, you expect a lot of bloat, right? Like how much page work do you expect to see? Like when we pump that over, and maybe me asking that bias is the effect of this. But the reason I ask that, I want to pull this up for you. I want you to take a guess at it, how many pages it would be. Check this out though. You got it in your mind? All right, here we go. Check this out. This is these are the mediation. Again, this is the 11th Circuit Court of Appeals mediation guidelines. All right. So this is all their mediation guidelines. 2 pages. That's actually, yes, but no, they have less than 10 pages. That includes this. That includes the title page. I mean, ultimately, look at this. Look how anemic this is. It's kind of sad, to be honest. Like there's not a lot here. You would think, again, with government, anytime they're writing out laws and legalese is some of the worst things to look through. But you know what they don't write a lot on? Settling things. You know why? Because nobody makes enough money off of it, probably. That's just my guess. So why the hell why would they write much about settling it? But we've got to have a good faith opportunity to try at the same time, right? Just kind of crazy. Not many pages. So again, for the guidelines, we saw the guidelines set up. You can actually look these up if you're ever curious about that. You can see the link for that. Briefs mediation also does not automatically stay appellate proceedings, including the briefing schedule. So if there had already been setups, I thought that was interesting too. So even though they're in mediation, it doesn't necessarily pause or stop anything. So let's look. Let's see what they're supposed to note, as part of their the confidential mediation statement. So part of the 11th Circuit, blah, 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 requires the counsel and appeals selected for mediation send a circuit mediator confidential mediation statement assessing the prospect of an appeal. Counsel should mail, email, or fax the statement so I can receive it at least a week before the mediation date. It should be a letter format, preferably not more than 5 pages. I will not share the statement with the other side, and it will not become part of the court record. Now, please make sure the statement identifies the case, blah, 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 and in the statement, counsel should, number 1, recite the circumstances that gave rise to the litigation, including facts underlying any procedural issue in the appeal. My, oh my. And remember, when we were talking about everything with this, yeah, exactly, Sue. Because, I've been dealing with the FMCS for years. And I can say they already have a side. Think about that. Oh, of course. The government covers government. If they didn't, you would have quite a few lawsuits. Look at the lawsuits against police officers, for example. Now, there are some awful things that happen. Awful things. There's record of it online. 40% of those horrible videos that you see, you realize that they're kicked out of court. They don't even make it to the point of anyone making a decision on it. The majority of cases, but they don't win. Like that is the most insane thing. Like you spend years in locked down in this system where taxpayer money, hundreds of thousands to millions of dollars are spent fighting over things where they absolutely know that they are in the wrong. And oftentimes people are denied justice. I mean, just straight up. Again, one of the most disturbing cases, one of the most disturbing items. If you go out, like in Tennessee, we're having a real problem with this, with with people being arrested for DUI that are stone sober. All right. When that happens, if you're arrested for substances or something, like I've told the story about the lady that was arrested, she had cotton candy in a bag in her, and I can't remember if it was a floorboard in the back or in the back seat of her car. She obviously, it looked like cotton candy. Even one of the police officers thought it was cotton candy. They put it in one of those testing kits. And lo and behold, of course, sugar and water changes color. So it changes water into liquid. And they were like, nope, it's methamphetamine. Even though it smells like cotton candy, everything else. They're like, it's methamphetamine. This lady spends, I can't remember if it's a month or 3 months in jail. It's a ridiculous amount of time, right? Loses her job, her place to live, everything else, because she can't afford to bail out, because the amount of cotton candy in that bag kicks it up to a distribution level. So she ends up with $1 million bond. So she can't bond out, because you got to come up with 10% of that. So she can't bond out. She spends that whole time in until the test comes back and confirms it was actually cotton candy. Now, the makers of those tests, they are indemnified. They do not get sued. You pretty much cannot sue them, which is insane. There should never be a setup ever where you are not allowed to sue someone. You should be allowed to sue when somebody gets it wrong. And these whack judge, they got it absolutely wrong. But her claim was kicked out of court. The officers, even though they said it was cotton candy, they didn't get sued. The place it happened, nope, they were let off the hook. The makers of the test, they were let off the hook. You would think that'd be cut and dry, right? But no, stuff like that happens all the time. So I think it's funny too. People that have had some pretty nasty criminal backgrounds, by the way, when they're rooting for the police, that tells you all you need to know about a situation. That situation there, it's not about anything other than hating the person that they're taking aim for. These people, it just amazes me. But anyway, so they're supposed to recite the circumstances that gave rise to all of this, which, well, you folks have heard more than once, I'm sure. By the way, like I said, you have Miltos these days bragging about how he's been trying to recruit some YouTubers. And they're telling the YouTubers essentially that it's just a straight up defamation case. I'm sure they leave out the fact that the PDF file signs, or the fact that they talked about having hitman come and take someone out, or the fact that, they talked about getting jail buddies to come and do harm to someone. I'm sure all that stuff got left out of Fed 1. I'm sure the state court stuff gets left out, period, too. I'm sure the protective orders, I'm sure that get left out. And the violations, I'm sure that gets left out. All they want to do is hyper-focus on a small subsection of Fed 2. And again, they want to make sure that they don't talk about it as them contacting any type of businesses, them contacting places like Whatnot and trying to cause somebody their ability to be able to sell. No, try to knock out their YouTube channels and stuff. I'm sure none of that's covered when they're discussing this with other people. I'm absolutely. It's funny. How do I know that, by the way? Because I've seen some of the letters where they reach out, and they absolutely don't include any of that stuff because it looks bad for them. If this were just a free speech fundamental argument, where you don't like somebody, or you call them even, you call them whatever, you call them, what's funny is on the ecosystem side, in fact, they threaten to sue over things that are free speech related. Again, and what we watch, like their business practices. Like, again, them raising $100,000. And God knows how much else. And them refusing even the slightest transparency, even to people that gave money. Then promising refunds if nothing happens and not delivering. All of that stuff. That, I think, would more meet the grounds on, oh, you absolutely have the right to talk about that stuff. And you absolutely have the right to call that out. But anyway, I'm getting off topic here. Describe any matters pending in lower courts or in any related litigation. Describe any recent developments that may affect the resolution of the appeal. Describe the important factors, factual, legal, practical, that you believe affect the terms and conditions upon which the appeal may reasonably be settled. And by the way, one of the factors that really jumps to mind, I'm sure will not come up in this, but a factor that really resonates with me is having Levy County go and tried to defend the person that already has a protective order and violations against them. That I've never heard of anything like that, ever. For them to have colluded with these people, and they bragged about it for a long time. All of them have. Like, it isn't just Michelle Preston that's bragged about it. You had the Fats and all these other people brag about how they've colluded with these people. That's a really strange element. I always wonder, about Dan Owens said that they should have sued. Even he was like, hey, you should sue Levy County. I thought, man, motivated. What's funny too is they were even sued by Michelle Preston. She talked about what kind of useless pieces of garbage they were, and they were like, "Oh, you know what? We should throw in with her." Crazy, isn't it? But despite any efforts to settle the issues, include offers or demands before and since the judgment or order appeal form, or order appealed from. I said order appeal form. Order appealed from. Provide a candid. God, my brain. You can tell, like my mind is tired today a little bit. It's even worse about translation than normal, and sometimes that by itself is bad. Anyway, all right, let's try that. Let's rewind. There we go. This is the worst rewind sound I've ever heard, by the way. Provide a candid assessment of the strengths and weaknesses of major points of error of the appeal. Describe the necessary terms in any settlement, i.e. confidentiality, date by which settlement must close, scope of release, disposition of related litigation, etc. Describe any additional information your client or the other party needs to settle the appeal, and whether it is needed before the mediation. State whether you and your parties will participate in mediation in good faith, with the intention of using your best efforts to settle the appeal, and explain if no as to any party. That's wild. Yeah, I'm sure they're going to go. You know what? We're not going to try. I'm sure they'll just admit to that, right? It's so absurd when you think about it. Oh yeah, they're gonna absolutely be like, yes, I know you ordered us to approach this in good faith, but we're not going to. It's so ridiculous. State whether you and your party will maintain confidentiality with respect to settlement communications made and received during and subsequent to the mediation, and explain if no as to any party. One thing I do not like about settlements is the fact that they don't want to admit liability, okay, but they want to shut down a person's ability to talk about the thing that transpired. You know, they want to remove your ability to speak by adding dollar signs. And I'm not saying, like, if something comes like that, I don't blame a person for taking that, because it is very expensive to fight in courts. But it sucks how, you know, oftentimes they want you to give away your freedoms, your ability to redress your grievances with your government. I mean, you're supposed to have that. So let's see. If the appeal were remanded, describe the realistic range of outcomes upon further trial, disposition by the lower court, including monetary remedies, attorney fees, court costs, further appellate costs, and similar awards. The lower court might have the opportunity to consider awarding and provide names. They're like, don't send it to the other party. When you're doing this, you know, don't send that over to the other folks out there. Just send it to me. I like that. You know, anytime they note something like that, it usually means that somebody has done it in the past, which kind of makes me laugh. You know, when they're like, yeah, you know, these are confidential. It's just between me and, you know, it's just between you and, oh, you sent it to the other people too. Oh, well, that's not exactly what I asked you to do. But I can imagine somebody's done that before. All right. But this, like I said, that's where we are currently when we are watching that. Again, I expect a slog out of that, an absolute slog. I do not expect that to really. I don't. If it goes for it again, they can kick it out of hand, and then you could try to hear it at a higher level. You know, I don't expect them to try to do anything in good faith with this. They are assured. They also are not playing with their money. You know, that's one thing. If these people actually had to risk their own money in these jobs, like if you and I, if we did even remotely, like just a portion of what some of these places do, we would definitely be held accountable. And we'd be playing with our own money. But now it's funny too. Let me see. You know what? I was going to mention two other things, but I think I'll hold them for tomorrow. Let's hit super chats. My voice is, it sounds like it wants to crack up. So let's do our thing. And then we'll just, like I said, we got plenty of days to cover stuff. There's so much. So let's do this. Max Lab, thank you for the super chat there. Appreciate you, my friend. Not a statement, but again, plenty of statement. Thank you, my friend. Emma, thanks for the 30 months. It's wild. 30 months, almost 3 whole years. I know, isn't that crazy there? Another great song with great bass. Yeah, thank you. I like that song. The one we opened with today. I absolutely like that. I think I'm going to do my extra today as well. You know, since we're not redirecting, I think I'll use it too. Serenity, thank you for the 15 months there. There's not a statement attached to that, but heck, it's one heck of a statement by itself. Thank you. 15 months there. Sister Sal, thank you for the 5 gifted memberships. Appreciate that, Sister Sal. Thank you. You know, I do appreciate that. Sue, thank you for the 23 months. I appreciate that. You know, again, thank you. Almost 2 years of that. That's amazing too. Appreciate that. Max Lab asks, when you have me on, Tuck, I don't know. I don't do invites like this though. You know, that's not how I do things. I don't do them publicly like that, you know? So, you know, I realize there's nothing negative in asking, but that's not how I do these, you know, and with it, it's more of a mood thing. I don't plan them out. If I don't, with this case, I never know what's going to go on. So, one of the downsides with inviting someone like tomorrow, with this crazy crap breaks off, and then you're locked in, for that. Also, you're locked in if, like I said, if I feel worse tomorrow. But I don't know. It just depends on mood wise. But I don't just plan in the moment, in the spur like that, and say a couple weeks. Because what happens is ultimately, when it changes, people get mad about it. So we'll see. We'll see what's up. Gwen, thanks for the 2 there. Hey, happy ferret birthday today. 24 with 28 years of experience. That's a great way to put your birthday. I love it. Yeah, I'm 24. I have 20 years of experience. I love that. They got me laughing. I couldn't find my happy birthday song for a minute.
Happy birthday.
Heck yeah.
From both of us to you. Happy birthday. May all your dreams come true. Happy birthday. We love to have you here. Happy birthday. Here's to another year.
Appreciate you too. Thank you. Matilda Fishes, thank you for the super sticker there. Thank you for that. I appreciate that. I always like the super sticker. Your avatar. I just got words there. I can't read them. I can see a few little words. Are those words or the clouds? So is that is it just walking along and there are clouds around his head? Or are those? I can't tell. I like it. It's funny. Night. Thanks for the 5. 2 L's equals 2 elephants. They have their own herd. We need an image of 2 elephants eating chicken skins. Well, what's funny about these people is they go out of their way to make fun of other people and the way they look. In fact, that's why people started calling them the 2 L's or 2 XLs. Because if you go back, that's what they did. They would make fun of not just Jeremy or George, but they would pick random people online, like, on Facebook, and they would make fun of them. And yeah, like I said, they digitally catfish. They haven't altered the way they look. That is beyond the pale, I mean, they've tried to sell themselves as, again, very young, very, very attractive. And yeah, they aren't any of that stuff, and that the whole point in doing that is, again, to try to catfish people into watching their shows. That's why it is. And it's wild. There's got to be somebody who runs into that and they're like, yeah, I saw the thumbnail and that doesn't sound like who's on the thumbnail. It's so weird. And who cares? It wouldn't be such an issue, but mocking and deriding people like that's all the shows. That's why ultimately I'm probably 3 shows behind and looking at their garbage because I got bored for a minute. Now, they're always a good way of finding out. If you want to not just take the pulse on what the ecosystem is, but really like what direction they're going to move into, you watch them. Because these people, they admitted the other night, by the way, I saw a clip of this where they have a Discord. They have a Discord group. That's interesting. That's a really interesting item, especially considering they talked about how they discuss elements of this case there. That would be something that they should be preserving. That will be something, I'm sure, that if the case rolls forward, that they will ask to see and more. and more, of course. Let's continue here. Let's see. Hey, Tug, the court reference, it's fine. By the way, the court reference in my post is incorrect. So I've removed it. That's fine. You know, I saw where that was noted by somebody, and it's good. It's good to check it there. But as far as I think the point in the post, it remains. It really wasn't as much for the court portion as here's what they said. This is what they wanted to call out versus, you know, what they actually said. They said that they didn't do this, but hey, here's the proof of it. So that's amazing. I love it. I absolutely love it. I love that as a series. I think if you were to adopt that as a, you know, as a daily or every few days, dropping something like that, you know, just depending on how, I think you could turn that into your, like something interesting, you know, and it's good factual challenge. I like it when people do that. Miyagi does videos like that, for example, you know, that absolutely challenge these people. And it's funny because when they're challenged, their answer is to pretend that the evidence it either doesn't exist or, you know, transcripts and other things are somehow a lie. Their own words are lies. So I always think that's funny. Pickled Tink. Thanks for the 2 there. I'd love to see proof that there are any tortoises still. I'm confused because he talked about selling them off, and then, you know, I don't understand with that whole thing, period. I understand what you're saying for sure, but just as that subject, if you're going to run a nonprofit, if you're going to do all of this stuff, you should be able to support yourself first, you know, especially like this isn't helping people. I'm not saying that animals are not worth helping, but I am saying that when you're talking about, you know, you're saying that I can't afford to keep the lights on, or I can't work, but I can go and I can run a flea market booth all the time. We can set up pins. We can run electricity. You can do all this stuff, but you can't go out and actually have a job. It blows my mind when you think about that. I mean, surely some of you are like, oh my God, you know, because I'm sure some of you folks are, you know, you've been in those places. You've needed help. And, you know, in those, you wouldn't even, if you're truly in need, if you're truly scrambling for you to have placement, then the last thing you're thinking about is keeping some freaking animals outside warm. You know, that's a luxury. You know, people talk about luxury as far as, you know, buying excess or doing this or doing that. A luxury is having, you know, again, an animal sanctuary. Turtles that you're providing stuff for. It's just nuts. All of it is. This case is all crazy to me. And even when it's exposed, it's amazing how these institutions just don't give a shit. They don't. These are supposed to be, what's wild to me is, depending on the state, these are supposed to be the quote unquote fiscally responsible states. You know, that's how they shop themselves. We're hard on this. We're hard on that. You know, and yet, and again, you know, being from the side, I am definitely not shilling for more government oversight, but fucking government's already involved in their lives. So I also think if people need it, it should be there, you know, absolutely. If you have a need, but these things, they don't mesh. You can't say I've got need, but I also have excess where I can do all this. And it really does bother me when they're like, I can't work, I can't do any of these things. But I can do that. It's just wild to me. It's absolutely wild. What's up? Maybe not. How you doing? It's good to see you there. Is that That landscape photo, by the way, is that one you yourself have taken? Or I'm curious about it. Anytime somebody changes their avatar, I'm curious about it. It's just a random pic or whatever. But thank you for dropping those 10 giftos, too. That's awesome. Appreciate that. Also, again, Andre, thank you again for the cleaning, for the not cleaning or the candy. Thank you. Emma, thank you again. Appreciate that. To Floofy, thank you as well. And as always, like I said, we hope that you are on the mend every day. Hope you're getting better. And I realize it's been in, you said slow increments, but you said it was going forward. So I'm glad to hear that. Pickle Tink, thanks for the tip. Can they make her sell the tortoises? I doubt they would do that. Just honestly, I doubt it would go that far. I mean, one of the things, one of the games that they've played, if you look at who's responsible for the 501c3 as well, it's not just Preston, it's also Cook's on it. So now again, Cook at the same time, I mean, these people spend all fucking day long online, all that. Like I spend a bit of time here and there checking in. Because, I'm looking to see what's happened, if there's something new. We run a show. So these people, they sit in chats all day long, all night long. It's crazy. It's wild to me. But could they, theoretically, could they, maybe, again, they don't go to the point of cruelty with something. I think it's more along the line. They could check them like how do you say that random jewelry and random purses and shit like that they belong to the turtles? And if you're claiming that the money is being spent for them, I hope you're keeping some very good records of that, because you invited oversight into your life. You invited people that want to recover money, so we'll see. S. John, by the way, I will have to show this to her. I think she went up and went to sleep. She was looking a little tired, and I know she didn't come back. So, I think she went to sleep there. But I'll clean up the room and then buy some lip gloss. I'll show her that. I'll have a laugh out of it. Thank you. Sarcasm. Also, for anybody there, just in case, you were thinking that Jay is up, he's sick, so they canceled, and money's for Bugs Made. Thank you, too. Appreciate that. But man, I hope Jay gets better. Like I said, we'll have a medical fund tomorrow that he won't get. That'll be awesome. Fallen Hero, what's up, my friend? I hope you're doing good, too. It's great to see you as always, and as I say, and I very much mean each time, it's good to see you here. Every time. Thank you. So, noted. Again, been dealing with the FMCS for years. I can say they already have a son. Think about that. Indeed. And said, additionally, for example, is stacked against employers. Yeah. Think about it, people. Well, it should make people mad that these are the systems that they supposedly represent you. They supposedly are there to help you. And yet, Dan Owen made it very clear. Hey, you get a protective order. We don't got to help you. Got to do anything. Well, that's a horrible thing. It makes you wonder how many people have had something like this happen to them. How politicking, how that steps in and, it ruins God knows what. Travis, thanks for the 5 there. Glad you're on, brother. Been a horrible day. Going to be a long, bad weekend for me. Hope everyone in the chat and mods doing great, and hope the girls and you are great. Well, man, you know what? Just remember, in those moments, like if you're having something like that again, look out for yourself. Again, I'm not sure exactly what's going on. It depends, but with that, you always have people to chill with, each day. That's why I try to come on, man, try to give us some place to let a little bit of our steam out and just think about something different. Think about the stupid or focus on a case. These cases have been going on forever too. So it's easy to focus on the idiocy of that. Tomorrow, again, with Mr. Coop, we'll talk about, since they just absolutely hate Mr. Coop, we'll talk about some of the recent stupid with that. And maybe that'll give a good laugh or a chuckle or, whatever. But in there, man, just being mindful that on the other side of this stuff, you gotta take care of yourself too, man. So, even if something's bad, remember, fighting off the old person we all are. We all have well, not all of us, but yeah, like myself, I have a person I could revert to, rather, I guess, in situations. You have one of those as well. Just watch out for yourself, make a bad situation better. And I'm glad you're here, man. That's part of doing it. Appreciate you, though, my friend. Mark. Hey, what's up, Mark, by the way? It's good to see you, my friend. Thank you for the 5 there. By the way, let me throw something in here. If you don't go on Facebook, by the way, there are some really good posters that keep me I'm going to say entertained quite a bit. There's give me 1 minute here. I was trying to find more posts. Anytime here it is. So Mark here, one of the people I like to check out stuff from that does a good breakdown of a lot of the crazy and the stupid that goes on, and post some pretty good clips of stuff. Check this out. Mark, it's a good moment to mention this. You can see in the Otter Creek, Florida, the Shadier Bunch, you can see Mark's stuff here. When I shout out Mark, that's who I'm talking about, by the way. When I'm like, hey, Mark posted this, that's it. There's some good stuff, like I said, and I like the fact that either you take stuff from I also like that you've been posting links to transcripts for other people. I've got a Clipto, but it's been good that you post them over there. So if people want a transcript of something, Mark posts them as well. But we'll also take something from a chat and also post different things that attach to it. They're always good. Again, there are quite a few of you out there that do some really, I think good research on that, because that's exactly what that is. I like it. Props to you, man. Travis, thanks for 5. Here's for the kids. And it ain't much, brother, but I'm tired, drinking. Been a long day at Planfield. Oh God, that's so work. Disking fields. Work you for Dad's birthday. Oh man, disking fields, dude, is rough. I know. Used to do my my stepfather. He used to ask me to go out and tear up his gardens and stuff, for him too. He had this little mini disc, and it was the dullest thing I've ever seen in my life. Used to do that. We used to disc with had a little just this little bitty tractor of a thing. I hate even call it a tractor. It felt like more like a souped up lawnmower. But that was always work. But tearing that stuff manually, Lord, do a lot of that. Oh man. And hey, by the way, for your dad, props to him too, but that's a lot on you as well, man. So you make sure to take a little bit of time for yourself, man. Don't let it overwhelm you. Don't let it, just run you over. You always make time for yourself too. Silver Fox, thanks for the 10. Question: if Jeremy has a lien against a property in Ohio for Lynette and John, how does that work? I thought he had said they were doing that. Then the bankruptcy came. Yeah, well, he has a claim for so much money. With this, they're trying to. What'll happen in this process? What it looks like is happening is for Lynette's debt. They will force her to sell off everything. And And with that, I'm not sure how a lien works in with bankruptcy. Like, I don't know if you get a certain crack in anything. I figure it all goes into a pot, and then they try to sell and recover as much asset as they can. I figured that's how that goes. But I don't know if anybody has any priority claim or anything. You know, bankruptcy is one of those, it's not just a novel institution, but we typically don't look at it, you know? Typically, I don't care about a person's bankruptcy. Now, that's weird to say because currently there is not one but two weird bankruptcies. You know, you have the Laura Owen stuff where, you know, she's trying to shield everything with some strange bankruptcy claims. And you have these people where they're trying to write off their own wrongdoing. I'm sure they didn't note that either when they asked people to cover this stuff. I'm sure they haven't been like, oh, yeah, by the way, you know, I think this is interesting. Miltoast was talking about how they had gotten some YouTuber, the Fats were bringing this up, you know, to look at this stuff. I wonder if they told them about the thumbnail lawsuit. You know, you want to talk about a free speech, fundamental, like F around and find out kind of lawsuit. These crazy pieces of garbage brought a lawsuit that targeted folks for using an image in a thumbnail in a person's name. I wonder if that was ever discussed as part of this. And of course, I'm sure the answer is no, absolutely not. It's always Jeremy Hales. Man, they have been desperately hoping to recruit somebody that just doesn't pay enough attention. That's typically how it goes. Somebody, I've seen people cover before. And again, you know, they either focus on one of two things. They either don't like Hales because of his reaction to people. And again, if you try to steamroll my life, F you, man. I'm not going to be nice to you. I think the idea of nicety for people that try to do that is absurdity. But it's either the focus on something like that, or they just have no idea what these cases are about. They've never done the research. They've never looked at how insane this stuff is. They think it's some surface level. And again, if they're trying to pinch a tent with that and sell it to folks, you know, hopefully they do the research, because it's not even that, you know, the people you throw in with. I personally don't want to throw in with somebody who spent 4 years in prison for fucking, fraud and extortion and other things. I don't want to throw in with somebody that's stolen from the freaking elderly, you know, and I'm sure most people don't want that either. That is really bad for your name. Hey, girl, what you doing? Oh, by the way, somebody sent you another super chat before too, and you were out of here before. S. Shine had sent you $5. Can you say thank you, by the way?
And her says something.
Yeah,
and thank you.
Yeah, she said, well, you can clean your room and then you can get some lip gloss.
Hey, we have it half clean.
Yeah, it's getting there, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been working on it for real. She was working on it today for real. As much as I mess with her and stuff, she was working on it.
Maid.
Yeah, you were working on it, weren't you?
Yeah, but we need a maid.
We're not getting made for real.
Yes.
No. Hey, let me finish it here. Give me a hug. Let me finish. I only got a few more super chats, and then I'm done. Okay. Go do your thing for a few minutes.
My phone's dead.
Okay. You can bring it back to me in a few minutes, and we'll park it up. Okay. All right. Back. Go play for a few. Love you. And then it's gonna be bedtime soon. You know. Mwah. Love you, girl. Here, give me a hug too. Thank you. Appreciate you.
Don't forget the bestie bump.
Oh yeah, the bestie bump, of course. Bam. Oh. Yeah. There we go. Did you show Sissy how to do the bestie bump?
No.
No. Well, you have to go show her. Show mom and everybody else. You know, be careful on the steps. Love you. Okay. You got about 5 more in your chance, sir. Travis, thanks for the 2 there. again, brother, this channel saved my life. Thanks. Hey, man, I appreciate it. You know what? You all have managed to change mine. And I mean, I feel like I said, I've had a rough go in the last year with health and stuff. And I've been able to do something, with all of this. So I feel like you all have done me an amazing solid too. So thank you. Appreciate that. Venomous Venom, thank you for the day. Yeah, I saw your live going on today. I didn't have a chance to, I caught a piece of it, but I didn't catch all of it because it's a crazy day. And 2 shorts coming too. Good. That'll be good. Maybe it'll be something to pick up on the week. That'll be awesome. Pickle T, thanks for the 20 there. Telling I'm disabled. I'd love to work. Yeah, exactly. But I couldn't even walk with crutches through Dollar Tree today to get 2 items. I could definitely work on my licensure and make a shit ton of money. These poor old hips and legs. Indeed, and it's people who need help should be able to get it. Like I said, I come from a mental health background, worked there for a longest time. And I firmly believe that everyone should have access to physical, mental health. I think if people are in need, we figure out how to make it work. It's just these people drive me nuts because they are the reason why people question, these programs. And that's the worst part of it. I think it is the worst part of it all. Let's see. Travis, thanks for 5. Doug knows what I meant by save my life. And apparently it will be in the book. I'm still trying to write about my effed up life of consent. Oh, yeah, man. Write anything. You know what? Like anything. Let me just throw this out there, too. Anytime, like if people, they talk about clipping or talk, hey, whatever. I personally, I'm good with almost anything. It's just like unless you're like a psycho like some of these idiots online are, and you obviously aren't, you're good. But yeah, I'm proud for you, man. I really am. I do want to see you write it all up too. Oh man, I'm sorry I missed that for her clean splice. I'll have to show her that too. And thank you, my friend, as well. And Kathy, thank you for the gifted membership there too. All right. Well, I appreciate you folks. My voice is toast. So I'm going to call it tonight. I appreciate you all. And I'm planning on being here tomorrow, like I said. We'll head up Mr. Coop and see what's what. All right. Thank you, folks. See you.